Hello everybody again. Here we are back in the bow. We are getting the forward cabin sorted out, so we're making changes now to make our new master, and you can see the progress that we've made so far. We're still essentially in the deconstruction phase, but we have managed to get our new bulkhead in. So the marine ply with its Macquarie veneer on it, which is slightly dusty at the moment, but that'll clean up. And we've taken out almost all of the original bulkhead, which was sort of along these lines. You can see the remains of it up in here, and we'll work our way right to the whole wall sort of as we get to it. I've taken out this fourth wall that was on the line of the porthole, and you can see the amount of volume that the boat actually has in and around there, and typically that area is used for lockers. There's a lot of storage space. Even if we only go up to the services ducting, this is a duct that was set in place when the hull was made for pipes and for cables, just to stop them from moving around, but that's not been used, so we'll take that out pardon me, and we'll get all the way back to this duct. The only concession to storage in this cabin above the bunks was just this box, which is really quite wasteful, so we'll take that out and we'll do something a little bit better. You can now see the size of what the cabin's going to be. The door line into the ensuite will be roughly here on that 45-degree angle, and the door into the cabin will be approximately here. So now that we've got some room to move, you can see we've taken out where the old bunk was on this line, and a shelf, and then the doors were here, as they were sort of similar to the other side. So that gives you an idea of the space. We are taking the rest of these hours working from the top down, and once we've got that cleared, then we'll be able to get our bed base in there and work out the shape for the mounts and the supports for the island, and then how we're going to fit the drawers underneath the island bench. On the side here, once the side to the hull is clear from the existing or the old bulkhead, there will probably be a cupboard in here. One of the design problems to solve is where we're going to put the evaporator for the aircon system. We're planning to use split systems, and that means that it's a little bit quieter when it's operating if it's hot at night. But it means that you have to have the cold air and then a return air grill. One preferably your cold air grill high, your return air grill down at floor level. So the options are either to build it in here and run the ductwork either in and around and down the side of the hull and under the bed, or vice versa, put the evaporator under in the island under the bed, and then work our way back up through with the ducting, perhaps onto the other side, given that this is where we access the ensuite. We also have just started to take off the headlining, and you can see how this was constructed. They used plywood stringers that were at one stage secured to the underside of the deck, but they weren't glued, they've just been pinned through. It was a bit of a surprise, I must admit, for a boat where Precision Marine was once Australia's biggest pleasure boat builder. Some of the construction techniques for this sort of stuff is not particularly good. It's rather a bit rough and ready, and you can see where it's pulled away. They've had these stringers, and then they've put the battens across here where the head lining was attached to. Pardon me, and because they haven't curved in here to allow for even the modest curve of the deck, it's pulled these away over time. So we're going to redo that, as these are bent, and it's lifting these off here as this wants to return to its normal straight orientation. So that sounded slightly dodgy, didn't it? You know what I mean.
Yeah.
So that's basically where we're at the moment. The other item that we're looking at is what we can do with the portholes. Typically the masters have bigger portholes. These are 450mm by about 250mm, and they have these big port tubes. What we'd like to do is to make this a larger one, but that involves creating a bigger tube, and finding the portholes that are similar style are also a little bit difficult. So that's a fairly major exercise to do that. So we're still trying to toss up whether we do that. What we'll probably do if we keep this one is just move it that way a little bit, just move it out onto the whole wall. We can't lay it down. It still needs to stay in this orientation, so it's perpendicular to the tube. Otherwise, it won't fit properly. So that's one of the design issues we're looking at the moment. But you can see at least that we've got some of the construction. It's not just been all destruction. And if you have a look down on this side of the ensuite, we've tabbed in just one side of the at the bulkhead, so that it's held securely, and it picks up the line on the vertical up here on the surrounds of the hatch. So we're still cleaning that area up. As soon as it's tidy this side and I've got access to the hull wall on the forward side of the bulkhead, we'll tab that in. And even though these are not really structural, they do provide bracing, so that tab will be quite strong, and we'll use carbon fibre strings in it to provide that strength, and lay the web out reasonably large so that any stresses are actually distributed over a wide area. We don't get hard spots or any stress concentration points. We are also looking at how we're going to handle things like the lighting on all the electrical controls. Given that we've only got 16mm of plywood, we can't mount rocker switches in here. They'd go through the other side, and we'd have rather large bezels, which would be unattractive. So given that we wanted to use smart wiring, we're going to use LCDs with soft switches and touch screens for those sorts of controls, and that will be run back from a microprocessor running a high-power drive board that will actually control the lighting circuits. So that's where we are at the moment. We're still sawdusty, but making progress. So we'll come back to you next time when we get a bit further.